morning, everybody. Today's video is part 2 to the deep core video I did a few days ago. So if you haven't seen that video, watch that first because we're going to talk about diaphragmatic breathing and breathing technique. In this video, I'm going to show you different positions that we can practice the diaphragmatic breathing in. So we're going to start with coming onto all fours. So this is a 4-point position, or also known as horse stance. So you're going to take the knees just under the hips, and you're going to take the wrists right under the shoulders. Now for this one, if you do have wrist issues, there's a few options. Ideally, you want your torso parallel to the floor. So if you're able to raise yourself up onto your forearms on maybe a block, you can do that. If you don't have that, you can come down to this position. And then also another good position, still maintaining this kind of more 4-point position, is to maybe lean into a wall. Okay, so let's come down into this position. I just want you to take a few regular breaths here. Diaphragmatic breathing, I want to first make sure you're in a neutral spine position. So this has to do with where your pelvis is and how it's sitting. So neutral spine, slightly different for everybody. Some people have more natural curvature in their back, some have less. But ideally, when we look at neutral spine, we're talking about the pelvis. We have our hip bones and our pubic bone. And when you're in this position, you want the hip bones and pubic bone to be in line, and this whole unit parallel to the floor. So you can play a little bit with, in this position, my pubic bone's lower than my hip bones. In this position, my pubic bone can get a little higher than my hip bone. So we want kind of that position where they're level. Start there. And then we're gonna now focus, like we did in the first video, on your diaphragm, the muscle that sits just under the rib cage. So as we inhale, in this position, feel the ribs go wide and allow your belly to just release to the floor. And then as you exhale, hug the belly just gently to the back, allow the ribs to come back to the midline. Now sometimes it feels better to tuck the toes under, it gives you a little more stability. We're going to continue again. Inhale, feel like you're widening your shoulders, widening the hips. And as you exhale, feel everything come into the center line. Inhale through your nose. Feel the expansion of the diaphragm, front, back, sides. Ribs go wide. Exhale. Little activation of the belly towards the back. Nothing too extreme. Inhale, relax your jaw. We need a lot of tension in our jaw. That affects our neck, shoulders. Exhale. Lower ribs tuck into the back. Couple more times here. Release that, let that go. So when you're practicing your breathing in this position, you want to remove any discomfort. So if it's bothering you to be on the wrist, change it up. You want yourself to be comfortable so you can focus on your core. If your knees are bothering you, place something under the knees. Adjust as you need to. If even placing something under the knees is still bothersome, you can do this one. You can lean a little into the wall. The idea is that with the torso more forward, your gravity is going to help you kind of feel that expansion in the belly as you inhale, and also be able to feel the belly drawing to the back a little more against gravity. So this is the diaphragmatic breathing in The next one we're going to do is diaphragmatic breathing in more of a baby pose, I call it. So we're going to, you'll need a wall. We're going to move the mat over. And we're going to come up to the wall. So we're on our back now. We did our seated, we did our 4-point position. We're now going to do the one on our back. So when I'm working with clients, sometimes they can't feel the breathing when they're seated, so I try different positions because certain people can feel it better in different positions. On your back, it's nice to be able to feel the lower ribs or the back ribs coming into the floor on the inhale, so this is good for that. It's also nice with your heels up against a wall to allow the thighs, hips to relax a little more. So let's get into our neutral position. Pubic bone, hip bones aligned. So you can either place the hands on the ribs to feel a little more, or just open palms up to the side. So we're going to start. We're going to inhale, widen your rib cage, allow the back of the ribs to just flow wide into the floor. And then as you exhale for this one, feel a bit of an anchoring of the lower ribs into the floor. A bit more. Belly to back gently. Inhale. Feel like you're widening through the belly. Hip bones going wider. Ribs wider. And exhale. Everything flows to the midline. Keep going. Inhale. As you exhale, feel the thigh bones slide down towards the floor. A couple more times. So our body, our skin has many different sensors within it. There's like mechanoreceptors, thermoreceptors. So to actually place your hand on an area that you feel you don't have much connection with helps the brain to be aware of that area and send signals for the muscles to function better. So with the breathing, it's great if you can actually palpitate the area you're trying to work at. That's going to help you develop the awareness in that spot. So yes, thank you for joining me. Those are two different options of practicing your diaphragmatic breath in. I would suggest that you practice breathing for either 12 breaths each position or a minute in each position. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.